So hi, Steve. I'm here with my friend and peer in our health coaching community, Lynda. And she's also, was it a certified Ayurvedic health counselor? Is that correct?
That's right.
Awesome. So the one reason I wanted to bring her into this conversation is because she was one of the people that inspired me to buy the book Prime and to go through it along with two other big influences in my life. So I was like, okay, if three people are talking about this, maybe my body wants it, right? So that's why I went through the first stage twice. And now, as you know, I'm leading a group through it. Um, it's called Digestion Reboot. And some questions have been coming up for us, and I thought maybe you would have some extra insights into them.
I will do my best.
Yeah, so one thing is finding the right amount of fibers to take so that it does something, but you don't have loose stools.
Okay.
Experience that at all?
You know, for everybody, and this comes up time and again, sometimes it's frustrating and sometimes it explains everything. It depends on the individual. So it just depends. And you start off small, and you know the amounts that were suggested. I think it was a teaspoon of, in terms of the psyllium and the fiber. Yeah, the flax, ground flax, and you see how you do. And for some people, that will be too much, and loose stools will result. And for other people, that won't be enough, depending on their state and where along the continuum of the health of their digestive tract they are. So you start there and you listen to your body and you take its cues and adjust accordingly. So
Yeah.
you might work your way up to 2 or 3 teaspoons of soluble fiber. And then again, it might take some time. So just for example, because of my history, I stayed on the first phase of Prime for 3 months.
Right, and we're doing the first phase in 8 weeks, so 2 months. Yeah. And that's just enough. I'm hoping that everyone can feel some of the differences and changes in their body. Yeah. And I think I think one of the people that was asking about that was my sister, I think, about the fiber. And that's basically, in the book, I know she says if you have loose stools, right away with a teaspoon to go to a half teaspoon. So I think it is a little bit of experimenting and seeing. I know for me, if I have too much, like if I put in too much, if I don't measure it out, I can do like 2 teaspoons, but more than that, I would have to.
Yeah, and that's where you are today, you know, and as we evolve and health ensues and optimal digestion, you might find you can do a little more. So you're constantly reading your body's responses to what you give it.
Right, yeah, that's what I love about Ayurveda is the just constantly the metrics are, how do you feel? How does this make me feel?
Your body is your lab, right? Yeah, and we're changing every day, different variables. So it's a constant state of paying attention.
Yeah, and in there, did she talk about having a little bit of a detoxing effect, like maybe getting tired or breaking out in your skin? Right? So do you think that would continue for 8 weeks, or do you think it has like I know it depends on the person, but do you think it probably is like a hill that you kind of get over?
Absolutely, yeah. How long that takes to get over the hill will vary person to person. Yeah, and you know the other factors in their diet, and you know, is today the same as yesterday, or what did I eat that would change that scenario today for me? But yes, over time, as the gut improves and the bacteria, the good bacteria improve, you'll eventually find your way over the fatigue. And you know, it's doing a lot of work now. If there's work to be done, you're expending energy to get that work done, and you're giving it the fuel to do that work. So it's not unusual to have fatigue. And skin issues are sort of the bigger systemic issue. So there's all kinds of things that may be influencing how your skin responds. And, but always paying attention and noting, connecting the dots.
Yeah, I have everyone using a cleansing journal. So they're taking notes every day on, I mean, I don't know, I haven't been reading their journals, but ideally, you know, how you feel emotionally and physically, and then what's going on, like what time are you pooping and what nights, at least the journal helps you keep track of what nights you're having fiber and what nights you're not, because you're writing it down. So I think that's really helpful for kind of figuring out some of those things, like, okay, I ate meat 3 times and I broke out more, or whatever the situation could be. So yeah, I personally felt tired. I've been sleeping more this last week. I was like, wow, I've done this stage twice and I'm tired. Like, I want to sleep. So I thought that was pretty interesting. What about the other thing I was going to ask is, like, taking fiber? I know for some people at first they could feel pretty bloated, right? Isn't that a normal thing? Is starting to feel kind of like it's just different.
The water-soluble fiber should be a little more able to be handled by the system. It's typically the other fiber that is a little harder and might be more inclined towards bloating and that sort of thing. So again, take a look at what else you're eating along with that. Is there raw food in there? Quantities, all that sort of thing. But bloating is vata moving, and it's trapped. So it's needing a way to get out, up or down, and it should be, as I understand it, the soluble fiber should be less impactful than, you know, from raw vegetables and that sort of thing. So again, if you are finding that and it's correlating, then again, scale it back for a while until those better bacteria, which the soluble fiber is feeding, get more of a hold on things, and you're able to keep vata moving down and out.
Yeah, I think that brings up a really good point, because not everyone, I don't have everyone eating the same things, or, you know, I said, we're just going to add these 4 steps in, and if you want to also go no caffeine and vegan, that's fine, you know, but, you know, just that's what we're doing as a group, is the cleansing steps. And then other people are choosing, like, I know my sister's doing, like, focusing on her yoga practice in the morning, and like other people are focusing on different habits. But so in general, bloating is bad food combinations and raw veggies and fruit.
Raw can certainly do that if your system is susceptible. Yeah, if you're not optimal through the GIT, then yeah, that certainly many things can affect that. But raw food's a common one.
Yeah, I know for me is the food combining. Like, if I put any fruit with foods will do it to me. I'll definitely have some gas or bloating. But what was the other thing I was thinking? Oh, what is it? Dairy and protein together.
Because they're 2 different kinds of protein.
Right.
Yeah, there are about 18 categories of food combinations that will inspire feelings of discontent in the GIT. And certainly fruit is one of them, which is why we suggest you eat fruit 20 minutes before a meal, so that because it digests quickly, it can move through the system instead of being caught with the more dense, harder to digest food, the results of which are not fun. And so, you know, we digest different tastes in different orders. Sweet gets digested very quickly. So get the sweet moving through first. And yeah, that's a really big one in terms of food combinations.
Yeah, I'm definitely still a baby in my learning of food combinations, but I have definitely noticed in myself when I mix certain things, it's a no-go. So,
well, I think, you know, if we're not familiar with the various aspects of food, we're quite familiar with taste, and that different foods have different tastes. But what we might not be so acquainted with is that there are other influencing factors on how our food is digested. And one of them is the potency of the food. Is it warm or it's cold? Another one is the post-digestive effect. And that's what I was referring to when I said sweet gets digested sooner than pungent. So it goes sweet, then sour, then pungent in order. So if we combine foods that are at odds with one another, the stomach and the intestines are going to be confused as to how do I manage this combination of things, and how do I make that happen. Sometimes the food doesn't digest as well as it could, and it gets stuck in the channels and things. So when you get understand the appreciation that food is more than just its taste, it starts to make sense why things don't necessarily go together.
Yeah, that makes a lot. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And just even, I think it can be challenging because at first just trying to get people to have 6 tastes or like the 3 that are predominant in the season, you know, at least for me, that's still like, okay. Like I was looking at my lunch a little while ago. I was like, are there 6 tastes in this? And I was like, mostly sweet, sour, and salty. Or in the winter, and those ones always help me balance. So I'm like, I threw some spinach in, so I had a little bit of something else.
And that's where spices come in handy, right? Spices can sometimes be just that little thing you need to introduce another taste or two that helps to ensure that all your tissues are formed most optimally.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for all these wonderful reminders. So if your digestion digests sweet and then sour and then pungent, then what's?
Yeah, so there are 3 stages. Sweet and salty go together in the first stage. It happens mostly in the stomach. And then you get further into the small intestine and we're into digesting sour. And then further down in, we get into those last 3. Pungent is the stage, and it incorporates also bitter and astringent. So it kind of flows in that order. Yeah.
So sour gets its own category. Why is that? Do you know?
Just, yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm sweet and salty together, sour by itself, and then pungent. I guess because of where I'm from the level that I have awareness of, I would suggest that different enzymes are engaged at different parts through the GIT, and that's just the sequence in which they arrive to do their job.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Something like that.
No, it does. I mean, it does. Ayurveda is so vast. Then you have the doshas, you know, what is it? When they first start to go out, it's vata. But then it moves into the GI tract and then eventually the blood, or what's the order of that?
The 3 doshas are mainly at home in your GI tract.
Oh, okay.
That's where they are primarily. And when they start to go awry, that is when they'll start moving out to the periphery. But
like in your blood, then to your skin.
Into the various channels and organs and whatnot. But they're at home primarily. Vata resides more than just in the stomach, but it is, I shouldn't say stomach, Vata is in the colon primarily. It's also in bones and various other places, but its main home is the colon. Pitta is the small intestine, and kapha is the stomach.
Right. I'm familiar with that, but it's like understanding when things go off. It starts with your digestion, and then it always goes out. And it's interesting because your digestion's like right here, right? It's like this core center part of your body.
Yeah.
And it's moving from subtle to gross. Is a concept in Ayurveda we talk about a lot. Well, is there any other closing digestive thoughts that you'd like to? Any other wisdom you'd like to share with us before?
Just that I think you're starting in an awesome place, because quite often when we start to trend away from optimal health, it most often begins in the gut. And quite often the place an Ayurvedic practitioner will start you off when you're looking for assistance is to address the gut. And once you start to get Ama and Agni working as they should, then lots of other good things happen, lots of stuff falls into place, and then you take it from there. So starting with the gut is a great place to begin.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I still have a lot to learn about Ayurveda and digestion and the gut, but I love all of the new science with the microbiome and the enzymes and how like your gut is another brain, and
Uh-huh.
it's actually giving messages to your brain versus your brain giving messages to your gut. And I think it's really fascinating. So I'll keep you posted on our learnings and what goes on in the cleanse.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me to comment. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.